I'm Travis Sherry. I am the founder of Extra Pack of Peanuts. It's a travel website that helps people find the sweet spot between cost, comfort, and convenience when they travel. We have a travel website, a travel podcast, and we do travel videos. So Extra Pack of Peanuts is a team. We work together, my wife and I, Heather. We both get on the podcast, we talk to the listeners, we also both write articles, and we generally travel together 90% of the time.
We kind of have a philosophy that we want to travel more and work less. So we still work really hard, but we get to do it from so many places in the world. So our office could be in Switzerland or it could be in Thailand, it doesn't matter. So we love helping other people find a balance between seeing the world and experiencing new cultures and working their regular job.
It's actually a pretty funny story about how I found out about Lights Camera Switzerland. My twin sister saw a Facebook ad for an audition for a TV show host for Switzerland. She knew I'd be interested because we've been doing a lot of travel videos ourselves, and also because Switzerland is really where my love of travel first began. So she told us we should send in a video. Of course, we waited until the very last minute. There's 3 days left to apply. We put together a video while we were on the beach in Thailand. We sent it in, and the rest is history. We knew this trip was going to be amazing right from the start. We flew out of Newark Airport with Swiss Airlines. The only issue was the fact that the flight was actually too short. They were bringing us out some amazing food. By the time the food was finished, we had about 5 hours where we took an incredible nap up in business class, and before we knew it, we had landed in Zurich.
When we landed, we were able to go, after we got our luggage and went through customs, we were able to go into an arrivals lounge for Swiss Airlines, and we could take a shower, and so we were really ready to go as soon as we landed.
The trains in Switzerland are one of the most magical things about this country. After landing in Zurich, we had the opportunity to take the trains from Zurich all the way down to St. Moritz. When you arrive in St. Moritz for the first time, the very first thing you notice is the stunning lake. You get out, the lake is right there. There's some beautiful hotels, and it's absolutely gorgeous with the mountains coming right down to the lakeside. One of the first things we did upon arriving in St. Moritz is we went up to a town that is right next to St. Moritz called Pontresina, and there was a classical orchestra concert out in the forest, which is a beautiful setting to hear some amazing music.
It was really magical. You can hear the birds chirping and church bells ringing, and then have these very talented musicians just serenade you with music in the forest. It was a really fun experience.
In Pontresina, one of the other neat activities you can do is actually go to an Alpine Cheese dairy where you can watch the cheese being made right in front of you. This is the only place in Switzerland that you can actually do that. I had the good fortune of being able to go back and help Peter, the master cheesemaker, actually make the cheese. It's not as easy as it seems. There's a huge cauldron of milk and ingredients. You stir it up. He has to do it for about 3 hours. And then we actually pull the cheese out of this. It's pretty heavy. You throw it in some buckets. They put weights on top of it. Then, of course, they'll take it to the cheese cellar later, which then it has to sit in. And then eventually you have some amazing Alpine cheese.
I love cheese. Seriously, if I could eat charcuterie plates with cheese and meat and bread every day, I would. So it was really great to experience that in Switzerland, where it was the fresh cheese, which they just said, we asked what kind of cheese it was, and they said mountain cheese, so I'm not sure if I'll be able to get that in the US. It was so good.
In St. Moritz in the summer, one of the main activities is hiking. There are trails everywhere, and what's really cool about it is you don't have to be an experienced hiker. So someone like myself can go out. It's really easy to get up to some of these trails. You can take the cable cars that are all around St. Moritz, get out, hike, spend a day out in nature, and just really enjoy yourself. One of the things I was most excited to try on this grand tour of Switzerland was the windsurfing. I am not someone who is known for my balance, so I knew that it would be difficult, but I never imagined that it would be that much fun. We had an awesome instructor in Alex who took us out on the stand-up paddleboards first, which was a great way to kind of get the feel. We then graduated to the windsurfing, which was much more difficult. Alex took us out. I had a bit of a hard time getting up in the beginning. I was going pretty slow. Heather was much quicker at learning how to do it. She was buzzing around the windsurfing bay. I fell in a few times, but all in all, it was an amazing experience. I would love to do it again. And if you're in St. Moritz, it's one of the top activities you can do in the summer. One of the best ways to end any day in St. Moritz is to take the cogwheel train 10 minutes up to Muertes Moral. You have spectacular views over St. Moritz. There's a fantastic restaurant, and it's an amazing place to watch the sun go down and listen to some Alphorn players. 6 years ago, when I was in Switzerland, one of the things that I did not get to do that I always wanted to do was the Glacier Express, and it lived up to the hype. We spent almost 5 hours on the train, and our faces were just right up against the window the whole time. The scenery is stunning.
You have the panorama views in the first class cabin, and we had lunch on the train, and you can just enjoy yourself and relax while you're watching all of the scenery.
Lucerne is an absolutely stunning city. There is a reason that when people visit Switzerland, almost all of them head to Lucerne. It is incredible. The bridge that's cutting through the city is like from a postcard. You cannot take a bad photograph in Lucerne. And of course, getting to swim in the lake is another great experience. So we were stunned by Lucerne when we got there. We had never been before, and it just blew away our expectations. Heading up to the mountains is another great experience. Two major mountains. You have Pilatus and you have Rigi. Heading up onto Pilatus, it's one of the most dramatic mountains we had ever been on before. And it was incredible to see all the people who were paragliding off the mountain and hear the story about the dragon and the dragon's den in Pilatus. From the very beginning of this trip, the thing I was most nervous about was paragliding. I'm not a big fan of heights, but when you're in Switzerland, paragliding is such a unique activity. So many people do it. In a lot of different cities, you can jump off a lot of different mountains. So I knew I was going to have to go paragliding. Once we got up there, once I got with the guide Peter, who had done about 3,000 jumps, I wasn't as nervous. I knew I'd be in good hands. And about a minute into paragliding, as soon as you take off and you get up there and you're floating around in the air just like a bird, it's an incredible experience. Even the biggest babies like myself can enjoy an experience like this once you get up in the air. I was blown away by the Swiss Transportation Museum. Sometimes when you hear the word museum, you think it might be a little dry or boring. You think they might just show you pictures of what it used to be like. That's not the case in the Swiss Transportation Museum. It's very, very interactive. They have a lot of old, neat trains, planes, all types of ways to get around, and they've done a fantastic job incorporating all the ways of transportation into one museum. They even have little scooters for people to scoot around the museum in as just another way for transportation. And of course, one of my favorite things, they have a huge map of Switzerland so you can see the country from above, an awesome bird's eye view. The Balland Open Air Museum is a really neat way to experience Swiss history. They've taken pieces of Swiss history from all over the country. They've put them down into one open air museum. And it's a great way to see not only the architecture from different time periods in Switzerland, but also the jobs and the occupations that people used to have. You can watch a silversmith doing his thing. You can watch a blacksmith. You can watch farmers, cheesemakers. It's really an incredible way to get a great sense of Swiss history. Having been to Interlaken 6 years ago, I knew how beautiful it was, but I was a little nervous that it wasn't going to live up to my memories. I was completely wrong. It is still amazing. It is a great place. Not much has changed. It's one of the top spots in Switzerland to do outdoor activities. The thing I thought I was most nervous about was paragliding, but after going to the ropes course in Interlaken, that was the thing that definitely had me the most terrified on this trip. To take that leap of faith, to actually jump off a platform that's 60 feet in the air, it's really, really tough. I was nervous the whole time. My knees were shaking. I don't think they've stopped shaking since. It was a really neat experience, but it was really tough for me. But they have incredible things there. The staff over at Outdoor Interlaken, they tried to kill me once with the ropes course. They tried to do it again during whitewater rafting. We went down some Class 4 and some Class 3 rapids that were pretty intense, but I feel a little more comfortable in the water. That was an incredible experience, especially on a hot day, able to be going down on a raft, getting wet, really just enjoying being on the river for about an hour and a half, 2 hours.
The water was freezing. When we first got onto the raft, you know, we're splashing each other and it feels great. But towards the end of the trip, we actually were given the opportunity to just jump in the river. And I thought, this won't be so bad. You know, you have on a wetsuit, but as soon as your body is fully submerged in the water for an extended period of time, which was only like maybe 5 minutes, it was numbing, but really refreshing.
Heading up to the Jungfraujoch is one of the experiences that many people will do when they head to Switzerland, and for good reason. The views from up there are spectacular. It We could have stayed there all day. You cannot take a bad picture at the top of the Jungfraujoch. And of course, the journey up and down is just as scenic in its own right. In Bern, people really love getting out and enjoying their magnificent city. It's small, it's compact, it's easily walkable. There's a lot of things to do. The RA River runs right through it, so people love to get out on the river and just enjoy the nature and the city that they've been given. One of the highlights of Bern is the Old Town. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It's absolutely beautiful. Cobblestone streets, shops lining each side, and of course the centerpiece of it all is the clock tower. Really old clock tower, absolutely beautiful, and it's really just a unique experience to walk around Bern because it is so pedestrian friendly and so lovely. I absolutely love ice cream. I eat it all over the world any chance I get. So getting to go to the Gelateria here in Bern was an incredible experience. Getting to see how they made the ice cream, see how they made it each day fresh, unique flavors. It was really, really cool. And of course, getting to sample the amazing ice cream was great. So if you're here in Bern, if it's a hot day and you want something to cool you off, make sure you head to the Gelateria de Bern. Fabroy Brewery, it's a hidden gem right here in Bern. It's really small, it's really unique, it's a great place to go, but remember, it's only open on Fridays. So if you want a really unique experience here in Bern, and you also want a really good IPA, make sure to head there. Our grand tour of Switzerland is coming to an end, but I know that we'll be back. There are too many amazing things to do here to stay away for long. In St. Moritz, if you're there, you've got to get out and you have to go hiking. There's so many incredible trails. If it's during the summer, check out windsurfing. That's a super fun thing to do on the lake there. When you head to Lucerne, just take pictures, enjoy the old city, check it out, get out on the lake, go swimming, ride the steamboat. It's a piece of history that you can't recreate anywhere else. And of course, then when you head to Interlaken, you want to start doing some outdoor activities. Get out there, go on the ropes course, anything that that city has to offer. And when you're here in Bern, relax, because it's what they do best.